pretty look here.
Record Gladys. Ooh, Thomas!
Get out of town. Wow.
Oh, Thomas rejects again. That is a head incident, Tulsa. He was born in Harlem. He's got game, doesn't he?
Unbelievable. Penetrating as Smith. Rejected by Thomas and sends it away. Oh, my goodness. Is that a message? Oh, mommy, please, get me out of this game. It's a physical presence rejection. Too removed, but you feel, well, let me go back and shoot jump shots. Now, this is too removed. That's how difficult that was.
Gives it back to Sales, and what a swat by Thomas.
Ooh, the first one for the Big East leading shot blocker, and he caught that.
This is a message and a massage.
ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1. Paulie, Sibilia, get off my lawn. Let's get back onto the Donald Sterling front. Who better to talk to about this than former Syracuse Orange basketball player Etan Thomas? First things first, Etan, let's get you reacquainted with the SU fans. What are you up to now?
I'm doing a lot of public speaking and motivational speaking. I wrote a book called Fatherhood. I'm actually in Oklahoma right now. I'm about to do a fatherhood panel. I'm actually going to be coming up to Syracuse in September and doing one. Talked to a couple of former players, and we're going to do one during CBT weekend. So that's been keeping me a little busy.
Moving on to the Donald Sterling, were you surprised by this coming out, or was this known amongst NBA players?
Well, Donald Sterling has such a history of racism and discrimination. It really wasn't a big surprise. It was just a surprise that it got caught on tape the way that it did, and his girlfriend put it out. And, that part was a surprise. But everybody kind of knew who he was. I mean, he's been that way for a long time. His discrimination case that happened back in 2003, and it has detailed. Just if you look at the details of it, the things that he was saying and what he settled for, and how he didn't. He said this is not an admission of guilt, and he said, I'm not sorry for this. I just wanted to make it go away. And then what Elgin Baylor said that he did, is well respected and a DC legend. And, what he said that he was going on, just all of the talk. We knew who Donald Sterling was, but, it's just something that unfortunately was allowed to go on for a long time in India.
How was he able to fly under the radar like that and still the NBA owners not doing anything, still getting free agents?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that, but they rectify the situation now, and I guess we just move forward from here. But like I said, this isn't a new issue or a new problem. Everybody kind of knew who he was for a long time.
Do you think this is an isolated incident in the NBA?
I don't want to speculate too much. It's different when you hear rumors about somebody, but Sterling's past was documented, in court documents, the largest settlement of a discrimination lawsuit ever in LA history. It's a little bit different, so I can't really speak to other people.
All right, we're talking to Etan Thomas, former Syracuse center, all-time blocked shots leader, too. Are you happy with the punishment that the NBA is handing down? And if you are, I want to move on to ownership. How do you feel about a guy losing his team over this?
Well, I think what it represents is something so much bigger than just, a regular person not liking somebody else. He's in a position of power to discriminate against people, and he has a history of discrimination. And, it's not just him not liking a certain group of people. So it's so much deeper than that. And I don't think there's any place for that in the NBA at all. And I think that Adam Silver did a tremendous job of really handling this swiftly. And I think the Players Association did a tremendous job of really making their demands known. Everybody was in an uproar. So it's not just, one person here, one person there. The entire NBA was in an uproar. And as well they should have been. But Adam Silver handled it very, very quickly, and he needed to put the fire out because the players were all ready to strike if need be. And they informed him of that, but they said they wanted to give him the chance to do his due process. And he asked for the chance to do it. And anybody that knows Adam Silver knows he's very analytical. So he's going to evaluate an entire situation and look at all angles, and he's not going to make a rash decision. And they did all of this in the matter of, 3 days? So, they handled it very swiftly.
Are you confident that all of the NBA owners will vote to have him out? And Mark Cuban saying it was a slippery slope. Do you understand what he was saying there?
Oh, definitely. certainly understand what Mark Cuban was saying, but the way that Adam Silver made it known publicly that this is what he wanted to push through, he kind of left them no other choice. He didn't say he was going to poll them all and see what they think and, maybe we come to a decision. No, he said we're going to push this through swiftly and we're not going to have any problems, getting 3/4 vote. That's what he said. So when your commissioner makes that type of statement, everybody just has to fall in line.
Do you think this is just a guy, he's an 81-year-old guy, and it's kind of just how he was raised?
Well, he's a representation of a discriminating system. If there were people who are in positions of power who feel that way, they're going to discriminate. And it's interesting when you talk about affirmative action, how it's just struck down. People who are in positions of power who feel like Donald Sterling are not going to be fair in their practices. And he's an example of why affirmative action is unfortunately still needed. We're not post-racial as everybody would like to think that we are. I don't think that Donald Sterling is an anomaly. And I'm going beyond the borders of the NBA. I'm going on, into the college admission boards or judges that sit and give one look at different cases and give minorities 30 or 40% harsher sentences than they do for their, the white defendants. Or, you can just go down the list of police brutality and the people, stop and frisk and all this. So he's representing something much bigger than just in the NBA. You know what I mean? When you're in a position of power and you have the ability to discriminate and you have those type of feelings, that's where it becomes very dangerous.
Is there any positive to be taken out of this in the way the NBA reacted and society as a whole has pretty much reacted in outrage to this?
I think that the positive is just to not be fooled to think that racism no longer exists.
Right.
And, everybody would love for it to be, the questions that I got from my son, who's 8 years old, and he's, just really not understanding why somebody would not feel that way. And, having his discussions amongst his friends in his class. And he was like, somebody from the Clippers said that they didn't want black people to come to their game. So that's what he came and asked me. So, it's heartbreaking hearing little children, discuss things like that and them coming to the realization that things aren't the way that they should be. So I think that's one thing that, we have a long way to go, unfortunately.
Talking to Etan Thomas, former Syracuse center, former NBA player. You brought up the NCAA a minute ago. How do you feel about the way things are going with the NCAA? Do you think players should be compensated?
Yeah, my coach, Jim Boeheim, has a different opinion of me on this. I have to respectfully disagree with him on this. I definitely think that players should be compensated. We're looking at how much money is actually being generated. Just looking at the overall billions, it's a $6 billion industry. Just from the TV revenues of what the TNT and CBS split last year, they split $1 billion on just March Madness alone. It's just the amount of money that is being made is astronomical, and just to think that to say that the players don't deserve any kind of compensation at all, and the reasons why they give that the players don't deserve compensation, I just think it's very hypocritical. You're not a student athlete; you're an athlete student, and anybody that played in the NCAA knows exactly what that means. You're there for one reason, and you can keep up your grades to be eligible, so you can play, so you can make more money. And it's just you see it's a corrupt system. The setup. Now, I loved my time at Syracuse. I got my degree. My wife got her degree, but when you look at all the numbers that were being made, and I remember that me and Jason Hart, we was looking at some of the books, it was our freshman year, looking at stuff we probably wasn't supposed to be looking at. And we were looking at the amount of money that was generated. We was like, wow, we didn't know it was this much. Goodness gracious. And it was like that aha moment. When you watch the documentary The Fab Five, and they were having fun at first, and then they started looking around and like, wait a minute. They're making a whole lot of money off of us. You know what I mean? So you just come to that realization that, wait, you're kind of getting exploited here. It's a little bit different. So, that's a long answer to your question that, yes, I do believe that college athletes should be compensated.
Have you ever put your mind to how you could go about doing it? And would you make graduation a part of being paid?
Yeah, well, there's different structures that you can do. There's different things that you can do. It's funny because they were talking about the stipend, and I was like, well, that's okay, I guess. But we're talking about actually the biggest hurdle would be for Title IX. You know what I mean? Because if you're looking at something that's generating, of course, all the schools don't generate the same amount of money, and then all the sports don't generate the same amount of money. But there is something that you can do that is maybe to what each university brings in, and then just give everybody something equally. I don't think you could be able to do something as far as what each sport generates, because, you know, I mean, my wife plays women's basketball team. I have much respect for them, but they don't make, the Syracuse women's basketball team don't make the same thing that the Syracuse football team makes. I mean, that's just, you know, that's just economics. But there is something that they can do, but right now, it's like they don't want to do anything. You know, they want the system to continue how it is. Of course, Mark Emmert said, no, it would be catastrophic if we let them unionize, and it would ruin everything. And, of course, we like our exploitive system. We don't want to change anything. That's basically what he was saying.
We'll move on to your time at SU now. As a player, what was your favorite moment as a Syracuse player?
Oh, man, I mean, you know, Syracuse, I had such a wonderful time there, and just growing. You know, my freshman year, I didn't really play that much. I was playing behind, you know, Otis Hill, and just learning how to play on a whole different level of the Big East. Oh, and let me say this: the Big East. That hurts my heart what they did to the Big East. It absolutely hurts my heart, because my freshman year, I remember playing against Jahadi White at Georgetown and Jason Lawson at Villanova and Danya Abrams and you know, with all these big guys in physical league, and it was just a history. You know, I grew up watching those Big East battles. If you didn't see the Requiem for the Big East, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I was like, oh no, this is to the Big East is terrible. You know, I mean, but you know, it was special playing in a conference that I grew up dreaming about playing for. You know, I mean, just the epic battles and the history that Syracuse has, and, you know, just being able to be a part of that, it was, you know, it was something that was just special.
And you follow the current teams in your thoughts?
Of course. Maybe do I follow the current team? Of course I follow them. I mean, they did a great job. You know, they came out, you know, started off hot. You know, unbelievably, and then, you know, they kind of fizzled at the end. But, you know, much respect to all of them. Enos has had a great career. He's going to, you know, do great in the NBA. Jeremy Grant, you know, thanked him for his time. You know, I watched him grow up. You know, because Harvey Grant, he was our player developmental coach when I was with the Wizards. So I saw him when he was young. So, you know, just happy for him, happy for all the guys, wish CJ the best. You know, and then they're gonna retool again next year. So I mean, it's part of the business. I remember after they said they were going to leave, especially, you know, Jeremy, there was a lot of backlash. You know, a lot of people were upset, and you can't get upset for somebody for following their dream. You know what I mean? I mean, you can have your opinions on if they could use another year to develop this or that, but this is their dream. You know, I mean, and you know, if you were in college, you know, for studying for whatever it is you're studying for, and your sophomore or freshman year or something like that, a big company wanted to offer you millions of dollars to come out, and you know, you would think about it too. So it's not something that I would ever, you know, talk negatively about them for. You know, I just wish them well. Let's
ask you this. How do you feel about the rule of having to go 1 year? Should it be longer? Should they just get rid of that rule?
I mean, it's so tough. I mean, because you're looking at it on one hand. I don't think it's necessarily fair to force somebody to go there, because honestly, some kids don't need college. Kobe didn't need college. You know, Dwight Howard, these cats didn't need college. They were good. But then you have other cases of guys that just kind of fell off the map, and you saw how great they were in high school, and they could have used college. But then also it's kind of hypocritical to say that they have to go to college, but you don't make it for every other sport. I think that if you're going to make it a rule to say that they have to play in college, you got to make it across the board. You know what I mean? For all sports, not just pick basketball. You know what I mean? Football, you understand, because they're, you know, physically they're at a different level, but you got to make it for everybody. But, you know, I don't like the rule for that reason. And then when you're 18, you're considered an adult. You could they have no problem sending you to the war, but you're not, mature enough to play in the NBA? It's hypocritical. But then at the same time, I do think that some guys could really benefit from going to a university. So I'm not giving you an exact answer, I know, but it's a little bit of a complicated situation.
Okay,
I see both sides of it.
Two more things. You got to shoot baskets with the President of the United States. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was great. You know, I campaigned with him before he was the president. So I get invited to all the things that happen after that, because everybody sometimes asks me, well, how are you at everything? You're at the correspondence dinner? I was like, yeah, but I started with him before he blew up and was the president of the United States. So, you know, I have a different relationship. But no, it was great. You know, it's something great that he does. And I could also still be critical of the president, which everybody can. Nobody does everything perfectly. You know what I mean? But, you know, everybody knows I'm kind of interested in politics and things like that, and I, you know, pay attention and have opinions on different things. So he respects it. So I usually go to different summits, and, you know, I'm part of the Fatherhood Initiative, which he appointed me to in 2009. So I've been going around speaking a lot and doing things like that with my Brother's Keeper, which is a new initiative that he has. And, you know, so I have my fatherhood book and fatherhood CD, and I'm doing things and speaking. So, you know, it's just something that I have a passion for.
And one more time before we let you go, if you want to hit on where people could see in September and pick up your book, maybe.
Okay, great. It's going to be during CBT weekend at Syracuse. I don't have the exact date. My bad. I should have the exact date on me, but it's CBT weekend. I'll be having my fatherhood book there, my father CD. There'll be some past players coming there with me. We'll do a fatherhood panel there, and it's going to be great. You can visit me at Etan Thomas 36 on Twitter, and my website is EtanThomas.com.
Thanks a lot, Etan. That was great stuff.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Etan Thomas, we'll go from that to Junior Mint next. We'll wrap it up. It's a segment we put an end to the show with. Artist of the Week, Run DMC. It's ESPN Radio, 97.7 and 100.1.
Acting package is whack, I kill. They fund my son and run heads